Well, hi everybody, it's John Elzinga, and welcome back to It's a Great Day to Serve the Lord. And today I want to talk about the good addiction. And I know how that sounds when you just first hear it. It just doesn't make sense. That doesn't sound right. And frankly, I thought about naming this or titling this devotional, My Lifelong Addiction. Either way, doesn't sound very good, does it? I want to talk about an addiction. What is an addiction? And I looked to Webster, and there's two angles or aspects of an addiction. The first one, it says it's a strong inclination to do, use, or indulge in something repeatedly. It's something you're drawn to, something you do over and over again, something you almost have to do, that kind of thing. Now, when referring to substance abuse or negative behavior, there's a real damaging effect, and Webster reveals this, and as well it should be. It is a compulsive, chronic, physiological, or psychological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity that is harmful physical, that is having harmful physical, psychological, or social effects. Not good. Not good. And one thing to note about almost all addictions is that it is progressive. And we'll get back to that theme, that idea that it grows, it develops, it's progressive. But here's the thing. We actually have a choice on what to be addicted to. And it doesn't have to be bad. Follow me on this. Because the addiction, as you probably derived already, the addiction I want to talk about is my addiction to God through my relationship with Jesus Christ. And you're already thinking, well, maybe that's not the right word to attach to it. Keep following me. Ephesians 5:17-19 says, "Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is. Do not get drunk with wine, or drunk on wine, or anything else for that matter, which leads to debauchery, which leads to, evil living, I guess you could say, bad living, sinful living, although we are all sinful. Instead, be filled with the Spirit." If you're going to fill up with the Spirit. "Speaking to one another with psalms and hymns and songs from the Spirit. Sing and make music from your heart to the Lord." Now, in this passage, it's not saying you can't enjoy wine. Rather, let yourself be filled with the Spirit. There is no going too far when it comes to being filled with the Spirit. Now, I know there have been people in my life, and it may be some of you listening right now, that know me well, and that might think of, my ever-consuming desire to talk about the Lord. You might think, it's a little much. I mean, why do you have to always be so heavy? I think back when I first started thinking about this subject and framing it this way, I think back to that movie, Mrs. Doubtfire, with Robin Williams. And as you know, they're going through a divorce, and he's not a very responsible husband and father, yet he loves his children. And there's a line in there. They're in the courthouse, and he's talking to the judge because they're trying to make a decision about custody. Who gets custody, how much custody, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm going to paraphrase from my memory. "Your Honor, I'm addicted to my kids," or "I'm addicted to my children." By the way, side note, I am too. There's nothing more than I love to do than be with my children and my grandchildren, would be with our family. Now, in the same way, but much, much, much more, I'm addicted to God, to His grace, to His mercy, to His love. I can't get enough of it. You see, when you truly know and feel the love of God, there is a thirst that consumes you. David said in Psalm 63:1, "You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you in a dry and parched land where there is no water." That's what it seems like. That's what it feels like in my ever increasing desire, my longing for you, O Lord. You see, it is progressive. it does grow. It does increase. A love for the Lord that grows, consumes every part of you. David said again in Psalm 42, verse 1, for as the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. You see, addiction overtakes us. It overwhelms us. It consumes us. And we want more and more and more. So, excuse me if it's a little much. But I say with Peter and John, when they were asked to stop talking about Jesus, I say that what Peter says in Acts 4, verse 20, as for us, we cannot help speaking about what we have seen and heard. I just can't help myself. I can't help myself. Yes, love for the Lord overtakes us. It consumes us, and we want more and more of Him and less of us. John chapter 3, verse 30 says, He must become greater, and I must become less. Or you could say it another way, as you've heard, more of Him, less of me. I can tell you that in my own life, my own experience, and my expression of my love for the Lord has increased over the years. I love Him so much more than I did before. Every day, every week that goes by, I love Him more and more. And I love Him to the point where I no longer let my pride or my self-awareness, thinking about what other people might think, I don't let that get in the way anymore. And so now when I worship Him freely. I worship Him fully, consumed with His love for me and His love for all of us. My friend, the difference in this addiction to loving the Lord, the difference is that instead of killing you, He revives you. Instead of tearing you down, He renews you. And instead of tearing you apart, He regenerates you. If you want that buzz, if you want a high above all highs, I recommend that your love for the Lord can be an all-consuming love. Let the Holy Spirit consume you. Take and fill you and overwhelm you with a sense of love for the Lord. And you will find that the good addiction is the God addiction. Well, if you are interested in going even deeper and looking at more of these devotionals, there'll be a link up here, maybe to another devotional. And, if you've contributed to this channel, thank you so much. God bless you. And if you would like to contribute, just send me an email at john@johnelzinga.com, and I'll send you a link in which you can then give a contribution. Well, God bless you, and remember, it's a great day to serve the Lord.